Greetings, my good bitches. The name's Francis, Coke Francis. I'm an editor, Twitch streamer, drag artist, and I'm here with what might be the hottest take of all time. So, you guys might want to sit down for this one. But, Peta kinda sucks. Not in theory, of course. If anything, their cause is actually a pretty noble one. For the past 45 years, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals has fought tooth and nail to end our systemic cruelty and exploitation of animals. And to their credit, their activism has reaped success in years past. They've made huge strides in ending animal testing across many major corporations. Fur is hardly ever used in fashion anymore, at least in the United States. They've facilitated the closure of slaughterhouses across the country, and they sued the dicks over at SeaWorld into adopting better practices, even though they really should have just been shut down completely. In the year of our Lord 2025, the general public is much more informed about animal cruelty and the ethics of the meat and dairy industry than before PETA was founded. They're the most recognizable animal rights group in this country, and the most reviled. But why? With celebrity endorsements from Paul McCartney to Charlize Theron to renowned philanthropist Ellen DeGeneres, why is this group with an allegedly effective track record so widely hated? Short answer, PETA mastered the art of ragebait long before our economy was based on it. It was never really the cause that the general public took issue with. It was their marketing that ranged anywhere from simply annoying to bafflingly ignorant. They frequently employed shock tactics, gore, sexual allegories, sensationalized nudity, and public spectacle to bring attention to their cause. While they did succeed at getting more eyes on them, this eventually became what the group was best known for, and not the positive results of their activism. Essentially, they used the same tactics that Mel Gibson did in his anti-Semitic and weirdly horny Jesus movie. Who would have thought years of using conventionally attractive, thin, white, nude women in your advertising wouldn't exactly win over the progressive feminist crowd? Or that talking shit on Steve Irwin won't exactly make you fun at parties? Or that saying that milk causes autism would make you look like the head of Health and Human Services? Or that comparing factory farming to the goddamn Holocaust, slavery, and lynchings wouldn't piss off every single decent human being on Earth? And, of course, we can't forget about the infamous euthanasia lawsuits, which found that PETA euthanizes an average of 80% of the animals they take in every year. Compare that to animal shelters across the country, where the average euthanasia rate is just 8.5%. As PETA's credibility dwindled, their shock value marketing became stale, and their efforts to convince people to join their cause are mostly just mocked and laughed at now. PETA has essentially become the Autism Speaks of animal rights groups. But like Autism Speaks, or DARE, or any other existing organization where you're like 20 years too late to join, PETA still persists, but looks like they're starting to embrace their lolcow status, which seems to have awakened a humiliation fetish inside of them. And I put together a nice little compilation of PETA ads and tweets that demonstrate that, and I ranked them all for your viewing pleasure. And as the title suggests, I say this all as someone who's been vegetarian since the 6th grade. I've even been vegan on and off at times for funsies. But first, to keep the lights on in my house and makeup on my face, a brief word from our sponsor and our very handsome host. You might not believe it, but I've actually sustained several work-related injuries as a full-time content creator, from assault with a deadly mascara wand to extensive hot glue burns, and most recently, a back injury as a result of cringe-induced scoliosis. Unfortunately, there's no workers' comp for drag queens on YouTube, so I had no idea how much my cases were really worth. Plus, how do you even explain injuries like that to your insurance company in the first place? I realized that I needed a lawyer who would fight fight for me, no matter how ridiculous my job really is. And that's where Morgan & Morgan comes in. There's a reason queens slay every runway, just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm, with over 1,000 attorneys and over 100 offices nationwide. For over 35 years, they've helped recover over $25 billion for over 500,000 clients. When you've been injured because of someone's negligence, you not only need a lawyer, you need a law firm that'll fight for you and help you get the compensation you deserve. And Morgan & Morgan's results speak for themselves. In Florida, a client just received $12 million after their insurance company had only offered them $350,000. In Pennsylvania, a client was offered $26 million, which was 40 times the amount of the insurer's offer. And another Florida client got $20 million when the first offer was $0. When you hire Morgan & Morgan, you're hiring a legal army that has your back, and their fee is free unless they win a case. So if you've ever been injured or in an accident, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. You can start your claim now by clicking the link in the description, or by scanning this QR code with your phone right next to my very handsome face. And with that, back to our regularly scheduled programming. First category is they're out of line. But they're right. The most frustrating thing about PETA is that even with all the extremely harmful misinformation they spread, sometimes they're right. Again, it's not the general animal rights cause that's the problem here. It's their hypocrisy and their methods of shock value and exploitation that are ultimately ineffective. And, you know, just, being really f***ing annoying. But so are most other leftists, and we agree on like 95% of things. But as you know, because it's not 100% of the time, the left will never truly be united. Second category is, ironically, please choke your chickens. If you don't know what that means, Google is your friend, unless Google's AI is too stupid to figure out basic sayings. Something you'll notice in a lot of these unhinged ads is that they're weirdly horny, like Mel Gibson's Jesus movie. I used to think South Park was being a bit harsh on them in an older episode where PETA members are depicted as quite literally animal lovers. But after seeing some of these, they might have cooked with that one. This leads us into our third category. Okay, Homelander, whatever you say. See, in its earlier days, PETA advocated for vegetarianism and not specifically veganism, until they realized that they could capitalize off of all of those got milk ads and spread all kinds of ableist misinformation. And this eventually turned into a lasting obsession with breast milk that could only be rivaled by the little guy on my desk behind me. Fourth category is using tools of fascism to be progressive. It's not at all surprising that an organization with very little integrity would resort to generative AI to ramp up their already ineffective tactics. And yes, generative AI is a tool of fascism, which is why you see the White House use it so brazenly and proudly, and why they're signing bills to roll back regulations on it. It manufactures problems that don't exist for the purposes of manipulating the populace. And they need some C word to make propaganda for them, since no self-respecting artist ever would. Sorry, I've received an incredible amount of backlash for using robot slurs, so for that reason, I won't use it anymore, even though I'm not a dirty clanker lover. God damn it, Francis. And our final category is, I literally require this to be satire. These entries genuinely feel like psyops designed to discredit the animal rights movement. Truly demented shit that even The Onion couldn't come up with, and they've written some bangers at PETA's expense. Starting off strong with this nightmare fuel, you're getting to third base with a dead turkey. And you think that's normal? And then we have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent here with the longest hand ever saying, "Stuffer, I hardly know her." This is the first of several examples where Thanksgiving inexplicably becomes the sexiest holiday. I personally always thought the idea of stuffing turkeys was weird as shit, but when you put it that way, eyebrows. Still though, I am begging your social media guy to clean out his system a little bit before posting on the internet. Here's our first slopperoo of the video. It's a baby chick, and he has a single cartoon tear because he's in a glass of eggnog. No, wait. Sorry, guys. This couldn't possibly be AI because it says artistic rendering here at the bottom. Okay. Phew. And it says, this glass of holiday cheer is terror and fear for chicks. Male chicks are ground up alive by the egg industry because they can't lay eggs. Now, this is a real practice, and yes, it's as awful as it sounds. This is an unfortunate reality for a lot of farm animals, including those gay rams who are slaughtered because of their inability to reproduce. But the good news is that just as there's a lovely little farm in Germany who rescues those divas, there are also a lot of animal sanctuaries and farms who provide a home for male chicks and hens who otherwise would have ended up in factory farms. Hen Harbor, Farm Sanctuary, Charlie's Acres, Freya's Friends, just to name a few in my state alone. I'll even put links in the description box if you'd like to support them and or adopt a chicken yourself. Also, this image implies that eggnog is quite literally made up of ground up baby chicks, but anything to get those angry clicks, right? It worked, they got mine. Next up, a real treat for all my lovely furry fans out there. We've got a naked Mr. Peanut Butter over here, and he's got a lady on a leash and an awfully tight collar. And it says, what if the roles were reversed? Prong collars are painful and dangerous. So I'm dumb, I didn't even know about the existence of prong collars prior to this, and one Google search later, I'm horrified. There are a bunch of posts about how to properly put on a prong collar, or oh, these are for training, but I don't know, call me a bleeding heart pinko or whatever, but the mere idea of putting one of these around any animal's neck is enough to turn my stomach. So, thanks, weirdly boner-inducing Peta ad. Thank you for educating me. Unfortunately, we're about to take a sharp turn with this next one. This was a real billboard from 2009, an era where tabloids called Britney Spears the same thing for looking like this. Thankfully, even for 2009, this billboard sparked a massive backlash, and they took it down soon after, along with a message that you can smell through your screens. By replacing the original artwork in the billboard, we're able to give a fresh perspective on the issue and keep people talking about going veg to lose weight. We're excited that so many people across the country have been motivated by the billboard. See guys, they were just concerned about everyone's health. This came from a place of love and concern, because eating meat automatically makes you fat, which is a horrible thing, and it must be cured at all costs. Kindly Persona 3 yourselves. It seems they were testing the waters, no pun intended, by not fully promoting veganism at the time. So this brazen claim is especially ironic, given their future weird obsession with milk and stopping people from drinking it. Case in point. Looks weird, right? Yes, Peta. Yes, it does. It's what you're doing if you drink cow's milk. You guys know what pasteurization is, right? Raise your hand if you know that humans shouldn't be drinking cow's breast milk. It was made for their babies, not you. So, I'll be honest, I always thought that straight up just drinking a glass of milk was kinda weird, especially if you're an adult. But Michael Bay makes one killer ad about Aaron Burr, and suddenly Big Milk is making kajillions in my home state of California. I prefer oat milk myself, but let's get back to this ad, begrudgingly. This sure gives the term mommy milkers a whole new meaning. I get the point that they're trying to make, but this feels an awful lot like an excuse for Free Bison to draw their not even disguised fetish. Here's an example of why you should always read things out loud before posting them. Imagine if you're the one being stuffed for Thanksgiving dinner. If only, Peta. If only. Think about trading places with a turkey this hashtag Thanksgiving. Way ahead of you there, buckaroo. I'm not sure if they're just rage baiters or if they genuinely have a humiliation kink. They seem to be unlocking new ones for every Twitter user who stumbled upon this gem. Maybe hold off from choking turkeys on Thanksgiving, but consider doing it to your chickens. That said, I'll take the edge-giving posts over more AI slop any day. 4 months is infancy for a human, but a death sentence for a turkey. who's gonna tell them there's a reason our pets tragically don't grow old with us? Now, there are some birds out there who outlive their owners. My beautiful precious cockatiel passed away a few years ago, but considering how long I had him, there is a very good chance that we were both 27 years old. But the same can't be said for turkeys, whose average life expectancy is anywhere from 4 to 10 years, and that's including domesticated ones. Killing a baby on Thanksgiving shouldn't be tradition. Well, why not? Looks like someone's never read any Jonathan Swift. Also, and there was so much other stupid shit going on here that I completely forgot to bring it up. Was AI art really necessary to get this point across? Next up, and God, I wish this was fake. Is it hashtag vegan to go fishing? Is it ethical to catch bugs? Is Tom Nook exploiting you? Leave it to Peta to turn the most wholesome game ever into an unethical carnivorous hellscape. And it even includes a link to the vegan guide to Animal Crossing New Horizons. Dude, fish and bugs are like half the goddamn museum. Even Blathers recognizes the importance of the bug exhibit, and he loves them about as much as Gavin Newsom loves homeless people. Also, Tom Nook might be a filthy capitalist, but you won't see him euthanizing 80% of the island's villagers. Here's a billboard they put up in India. If you wouldn't drink dog's milk, why drink the milk of any other species? Well, short answer, because it most likely tastes like shit. Cow's milk was probably the only one where the first humans who tried it were like, hey guys, try this one. It doesn't taste like the worst yogurt you've ever had. But again, it is a little weird. Do I care in the slightest if other people drink it? Absolutely not at all. But they low-key got a point here. I also appreciate that they said please instead of, body shaming people. This next one, where have I seen this before? We've got none other than a McDonald's bad post. This reminds me of how they used to show Super Size Me in every public school, and then all of the kids still went out for McDonald's afterwards. I'm not exactly sure what they meant to accomplish with this one. I mean, that kind of goes for all of them, but even I'm not particularly bothered by this. It's just too silly. I don't remember the heifer titan from the show, but man, that could have had some horrifying potential. Too bad they needed a robot to manufacture it for them. Here's a perfect one for this holiday season. We've got Santa laying in front of the fire. He's taking a big old shot of milk down the hatch, eating cookies, laying down despite the choking hazard. And then here's a cow who's probably more bothered that she's in a family's living room than anything else. And the kids are like, ew, gross, because of course they would be. And the dog whose thoughts are made of little bones because dogs love bones. And it says, don't let your kids catch Santa being naughty, along with the caption, Santa, it doesn't have to be this way, white person grimace emoji. This could fit into multiple categories because it not only brings up their obsession with drinking breast milk, but the intention behind both captions seems to imply that they think breastfeeding is something inherently sexual, which it obviously isn't, unless you make it so. Also, it's a good thing they highlighted oat milk at the bottom, because then it might have read as leave oat milk out this year, which is actually how I initially saw it. We've got another edge-giving entry that I pray doesn't get me demonetized. I'm guessing the artist, just didn't know how to draw hair very well, and so their only option was to blur out all the details in the final draft. And the kids and the dog watching horror as the dad says, let's open up those legs, and then the mom says, and stuff it all the way. If stuffing a turkey feels wrong, yeah, but when you put it this way, it feels so right. Anyway, before I continue down Peta's path of sin and degeneracy, I'm going to ask them to once again, here's one of the most infamous campaigns that Peta has run. This billboard was first launched in Newark in 2008. Of course, it was in Newark. And it marked the beginning of a decades-long misinformation spread that drinking milk causes autism. Advancements in science and technology, once-in-a-lifetime talents, functioning trains, a pox on society, I tell you. And worthy of a frowny face in the Cheerios that some asshole parent recklessly gave to their now autistic and therefore ruined child. This one also sparked massive backlash, and they ultimately removed it. But then they released it again in 2014. That one also received backlash, but despite taking it down again, their correlation between milk and autism has somehow persisted. But it does look like they finally made a statement about it on their site. Maybe they'll use this opportunity to admit they made a mistake and that they'll be better moving forward as, you know, an organization that tries to better the lives of animals on the planet. A recently resurfaced Peta ad, more than a decade old and long since removed, was based on a study that had come out at that time and was created in response to the milk industry's harmful Got Milk campaign, which duped parents into believing that cow's milk is a healthy drink rather than one linked to asthma, constipation, recurrent ear infections, iron deficiency, anemia, and even cancer. For the sakes of cows, humans, and the planet we're meant to share, PETA would love to see the passion that's focused on this old ad turned against the dairy industry. And then the article goes into detail with everything not related to this RFK Jr. ass campaign. It's just one big circle jerk of whataboutism to avoid any amount of accountability whatsoever. But this is exactly what I meant when I said that PETA is the Autism Speaks of animal rights groups. Somebody already beat me to the joke with this next one. This PETA ad looks like they had a threesome with a chicken and it blew their minds. Wait, is that not what they were promoting? Meat and dairy clog your arteries and can lead to erectile dysfunction. Nothing like a little dick shaming to get people to stop eating meat, huh? The study that this is referring to is just one Google search away. It showed that men with healthier and more balanced diets were less likely to experience erectile dysfunction. No shit. But as far as whether chickens help to stimulate arousal between subjects, unfortunately, we're clueless. Choking one might not have prevented this ad, but a second set of eyes could have. Ooh, here's one from the month they claim to care about gay people. How #SeaWorld makes baby dolphins. A male dolphin until he ejaculates. Catch his semen in a plastic bag. Drug a female dolphin. Remove her from water so she can't fight back. Shove tubes filled with semen into her uterus. #Father's Day. And then we got a little Vault Boy meme. You know that meme. I mean, aside from the fact that dolphins are dicks and have been known to rape and kill other dolphins for funsies, this is the artificial insemination process that the poor sods over at SeaWorld have to go through. And I agree. SeaWorld. But also, hasn't the whole world already unanimously decided that SeaWorld sucks? Are there really still SeaWorld simps out there? Doesn't Elon Musk do the same thing minus a step or two? Here's another one that definitely could have used another set of eyes before posting. You wouldn't drink your mom's breast milk now, so why drink a cow's? More of the greatest hits. But the story that this weird cartoon is telling is that this guy is stroking off a cow while he's breastfeeding from his mom, and then she's like, "God damn it, Jimmy, is my postmenopausal milk not good enough for you or what?" I really can't tell if PETA thinks that breastfeeding is something inherently sexual or if they just think everybody else does. Here's a billboard that makes me want to condemn the creator to a mall parking lot purgatory, where they spend eternity waiting for occupied parking spots where the other person gets into their car and turns it on but then never leaves. During the 7 years between 1938 and 1945, 12 million people perished in the Holocaust, the same number of animals as killed every 4 hours for food in the US alone. I don't have to explain why this one sucks so hard. I hope my ancestors never let the creator know peace. Same as when they made an entire exhibit comparing captive animals to human slaves and comparing what happens in slaughterhouses to lynchings. Now, I generally do think that there's a direct correlation between the way people treat animals, as in pets and wildlife, not livestock, and how they treat people. For example, if a guy hits his dog, it wouldn't be that surprising if he also hits his spouse or his kids. If someone hunts for sport and not for food, they probably hold a lower regard for other living things. Sorry, not sorry. That's just the tea, okay? Hunting for sport is dumb. If you do it, you are dumb. But in this particular scenario, in this metaphor they're creating here, in case you need a concrete answer as to why slaughterhouses are different from the lynchings of black people, aside from the fact that one of them is people and the other isn't, lynchings have been done and still are done to this day to send a message. Their purpose is to intimidate black people into submission, to let them know that they are not welcome and that they should be scared to even exist in the same space as white people. It is one of the darkest and most fucked up parts of our history, and it's still going on today. As gruesome as slaughterhouses can be, I think we can safely say that their intention is not to intimidate other cows. The more research I did on PETA for this video, the more I realized just how much of their marketing and priorities are intertwined with white American liberalism and exceptionalism. Like how their only concern when it came to Palestinian liberation was that a donkey got blown up in Jerusalem. Which is still sad, he didn't deserve it, but you know what I mean. I'm not sure if this next one is AI or not, but it's certainly stupid enough to be. After my wings were clipped, I couldn't lead the colony away. I'm gonna stop you right there, and I will save you all a 10-second Google search. Queen bee wing clipping is done to prevent swarms, and it's clipping off a small portion, the way that sometimes you have to trim a pet's nails or clip birds' wings so that they don't get too long. They even sprayed smoke at us, stealing all the honey. Beekeepers use a small amount of cool smoke to mask alarm pheromones so that the bees can chill out a little bit whenever the beekeeper has to do beekeeper things. Wake up, they really aren't leaving a single drop. Were they traumatized by the lice episode of South Park or something? Do they think beekeeping is the same thing? Do they think beekeepers actually keep all the honey and allow their bees to die, thus rendering their honey producing business ineffective? I give up. Coming up on our last few entries, thank God. Here's our final edge-giving ad where I guess they got Laura Loomer to make a cameo. I can't wait to slurp these juices. Real talk. How much of this am I gonna have to censor so that I don't get demonetized? How can they just keep doing what they've been doing for decades, but if I repeat any of it, my income is in jeopardy? Do I have to censor the whole? Because it's a turkey, but they're treating her as a human woman, and I don't know if YouTube's AI can tell the difference. Why did I make this video? And last but certainly not least, another post that I truly wish was a parody. While you're waiting for hashtag Pokemon Sword Shield, play PETA's parody, Pokemon Black and Blue. And it gets better. I followed the link, and lo and behold, they actually made their own version of a Pokemon game, and you can play it right now. Which is exactly what I did. Okay, so we're gonna play Pokemon Black and Blue, as promised. I guess this was in response to whichever Pokemon game came out at the time. There is music, I'm not gonna play it, one, because I feel like they'd find a way to copyright me somehow, and two, it's really loud and I have no way of adjusting it, so thanks guys. Let's play this Pokemon game, shall we? Treasure. You can get treasure? Oh, I haven't unlocked them yet. Okay. Okay. Alright, play. Let's do this. As battling Pokemon grew in popularity, generations of children were growing up believing that Pokemon exist for no other reason than to be used and abused by humans. Children learned about dominance instead of compassion. While Pokemon faced the worst abuses, children also started bullying each other until one Pokemon decided he'd had enough. They don't think this is real, right? Do they think that... Like, I knew about the scandal with, Pokemon giving kids epilepsy, but, Alright, let's just do it. Let's just do it. You have escaped from your trainer. Get ready to fight. Alright, fight. Let's do it. We can either do quick attack, our signature thunder shock. I wonder if they're gonna get copywritten for this. And then we can do the 2 signature Peta moves, which is apparently a group hug and a protest. This might be the closest I've ever come to being a conservative. Let's do our signature move. Let's do a thunder shock right out the gate. Oof. Ooh, got him. Is he drunk? Is that why he's holding the bottle? Uh-oh. Discipline me, daddy. Oh. Alright, their form of discipline is just whacking me with a baseball bat. I don't remember that in the games. Is that what they think happens? Let's try quick attack. Let's see how much damage that does. Alright, not bad. Karen uses choke collar. Oh, no. Oh, how awful that would be. I'd certainly hate one of those. Let's do some signature Peta moves. Let's try group hug. Hugs always help, right? Aww. Smothered him with a loving embrace. Boo, get new material. We got one more. Let's do protest. Love or not a fighter. Pikachu beat down on Karen with some powerful words. Their attack fell. You know, for a group that's so adamantly against Pokemon, they sure do have a pretty solid understanding of turn-based combat. Let's shock this bitch. Seriously. I refuse to lose to the Peta Pokemon game. We're still trapped. Tail docking? Oh no! I need that! That's like my signature thing! Oh, oh shit, we are hanging on by a thread. Alright. I think this is our last chance. Thundershock. Let's do it. We got enough. Goodbye! Pokemon are not yours to abuse, Karen. We exist for our own reasons. Do you? Do you, though? But you're just a Pokemon. This is what you're bred to do. I don't remember this from any of the games. Oh, come on. Even you know what a weak argument that is. Oh my god. Well, my other Pokemon doesn't want freedom. She's a well-behaved Pokemon. She likes to fight and remain caged up in her Pokeball all the time. These are cartoons. They're not real. If you believe that, give her the choice. Fine. Tepig? What does that mean? I'm dumb. What does that mean? Tepig joins the party. So we got another Pokemon. What's this Pokemon's name? Got him! I heard what you said to Karen. I want to help you. As a nurse, I've seen how mistreated and exploited Pokemon are. Like all thinking and feeling beings, Pokemon must surely suffer terribly when they are caught up in experiments. When does that happen? Literally, when does that happen? Ever? What they think happens in Pokemon is what conservatives think happens in public schools. This is the PETA equivalent of thinking that, like, your kids are gonna get transed at school. I didn't know any humans spared a thought for our feelings and experiences. No, because we're adults and we know fiction from not. There's some of us who do, but if we work together, there could be more. Alright, power of friendship, we got this. Here's a treasure chest. Oh, we got the treasure chest! Hell yeah. Also, I just noticed all of the bear traps, the barbed wire with blood on it, and the trees also stained with blood. That's, actually kind of really gross. It doesn't even have any real world... I don't... gross, dude. But I do want to see what's in this treasure chest, so... A video was inside. I'm gonna hit view, but we might have to censor this. I don't know what they're gonna show us. Oh, no! Oh my god. Wow, you guys must be really fun at parties. Yeah. Let's have a party where we play this instead of Smash. Is bringing a talking cat in a bag to school with you considered animal abuse? Is riding chocobos anti-vegan? Are humans actually just Hieronymus Bosch monstrosities? How many other turn-based JRPGs do they think are real? Well, that was wonderfully stupid. Once again, if animal rights activism is something that's important to you, or if you'd like to adopt or rescue an animal that's legal to do so in your area, fantastic. I've linked plenty of other great organizations that actually try to help make the world a better place for these animals. And I certainly don't want this video to come across as me dismissing the movement as a whole, just the idiots who ruin it for everybody else trying to make a difference. Anyway, let's check out the winning comments from the last video. Nate Danforth 9652 says, "My old boss and his wife did a video to reveal their child to the world. It zoomed into the cake, which was cut to reveal green. It then zoomed out to show they were wearing matching rubber velociraptor masks. It was glorious." Red Violet VOD says, "White prison blinding people with their complexion." I appreciate how many people knew that was a Prism cosplay. Giant Robots Conquer the World says, "Oh, gender reveal. That's the kind of thing I would never misread," I say as I pull the "from" tag off a large box on the gift table. The box shakes and starts mysteriously honking. You too could be featured in the next video. Leave a comment below and I will pick my favorite ones and give you a shout out next time. But if you'd like to guarantee your name be featured at the end of every video, please consider joining my Patreon. If you join any of the membership tiers that are conveniently named after Fallout protagonists, your name will be mentioned at the end of every video. You might get some other cool stuff like access to my Discord, behind the scenes content on how I make my wigs, ad-free and uncensored versions of my videos. So if you love my content and my drag, you can support this channel directly by clicking the link to my Patreon in the description box. If you would like to see me simp for my favorite game characters and get visibly frustrated in real time, maybe even do some group hugs with Pokemon, please consider following me on Twitch. And if you'd like to see even more of my clown mug elsewhere, consider following me on Instagram. Blue Sky don't really use as much, but you're welcome to follow me there. My handle for all of the above is @QueenCokeFrancis. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't done so already, please break into a testing facility to rescue as many animals as possible. But when they rightfully replace animal testing with human testing, help the cause by going ahead and unzipping your pants and dick slapping those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. Thank you again to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video, and thank you to all of my patrons and subscribers who've helped my channel grow and thrive the way that it has been. And, of course, as always, until next time,